There you go. Are you using Gmail or Yahoo? AOL. That's probably why you didn't get it. That's probably why you didn't get it. All right. No, I'm gonna send it to you in Facebook. I'm gonna see it on Facebook Messenger. Can you get on that right now? Because that way I don't have to go to emails and all that stuff, man. I wouldn't have to do all that. I got so much security on my phone, man. I can't even use it, man. I mean, it takes me a long time to get in, but I should be in 2 seconds. So. All right, what is that? Okay. Got a call coming in. I can't even, that you? Somebody called me from LA. I know who that is. Yeah, I know who that is. I can't talk to her right now. You know, when you're doing something like this, not everybody wants to talk, you know? You know, I'm getting ready to go online. 286-409, that's for me. 286-409. Messenger. Giles. Again, that's the join the meeting. That says join the meeting. Let me go back and see what this password thing is though, because no, I'm gonna. Wait a minute, I had the meeting up. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I got Rodney. So Rodney's in, man. Okay. I did the invite, man. I got Rodney. Rodney, you gotta open your mic. I have to open your mic. You gotta unmute. Rodney's gotta unmute his mic. All right, Rodney, you in?
Hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. We got Rod on the phone. He's trying to get in. What was the key to you actually joining the meeting, other than the link?
I just clicked the link in your Facebook page. There was a link on your African American Lit Facebook page, and I was ushered right in.
All right, so yeah, Rod, you can try on Facebook. Rodney said he went through the link on Facebook. The invitation on Facebook. If you go to my Facebook page, you should be able to get right in.
Yeah, Who's Who in African American Literature. Yeah. Was that page?
Yeah, he went through the Who's Who in African American Lit page. I got like 10 pages on there. I posted it everywhere, but my Jeff Gatsby Wilson page is the main one, and it's on there about 5 or 6 times.
Okay, all right.
Okay, Rod, listen, I'm going to start with Rodney. I still got you on the phone. When you get it together, just join in, okay?
All right. Awesome.
All right, everybody. Good afternoon. It's Jeff Wilson, aka Mr. Grown and Sexy, Gatsby the promoter. You're listening to the WBMG radio show. I'm your host. Today, our guest is celebrated filmmaker and movie industry professional, Rodney Parnther. Am I saying that right?
You said it perfectly, man.
Okay.
You did a better job than most of my school teachers. So.
Oh wow! Listen, I feel blessed. You know what, Rod? Your Rod always mentions your name, and he says both names. Anyway,
Okay.
we have Rod Giles also is going to join us a little later on in the show, but we're going to get started right now. So, Rodney, welcome to the show, man.
Okay, thank you. Pleasure to be here, man. And let me is this your initial show? Is this the first episode of this particular show?
This is my first time doing Zoom. I'm a public access TV producer. So I had a show in DC, which I produce in the studio. And then I do online radio as well. But the Zoom thing is totally new. I've never tried it before. I've never even been on a Zoom call or video conference before. So, man, thanks for, helping me, break into this genre.
No problem.
Being the first guest on the show.
No problem. No problem. The pressure is on me, so.
Oh man. Okay.
We'll rise to the occasion.
Let me see. I got some things I need to do here. I'm still trying to figure this out. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. So Rodney's a film producer. You're gonna tell us a little bit more about yourself. Better you tell the viewers who you are and what is it that you do.
Yeah, sure. So I am Rodney Parnther. I'm a native New Yorker, born and raised in New York, specifically in Harlem. My actual profession is, I'm a CPA. I've spent many years as a senior VP in corporate America, specifically in the media and entertainment industry, where I had a chance to network with a lot of different professionals in the industry, especially African-American professionals that were trying to establish themselves and get their name up. I was involved with a lot of groups looking to promote African-American talent. One of the earliest groups I became involved with was the Black Filmmaker Foundation. And this was back in the late 90s, early to mid 90s.
Okay.
If you recall, I don't know if you're familiar with the organization. It was started by the Hudlin brothers. And,
yes,
I got involved around the same time that I got involved with film production itself. One of the earliest feature films that I got involved in, I should say my first feature film project that I got involved in was a film called Straight Outta Brooklyn. It came out in 1991. And 1991 was sort of like the banner year for Black films. It was one of the first years since the Blaxploitation phase. We had so many African-American films that were released by Hollywood and by independent companies. And so one of those films was Straight Outta Brooklyn. And that one particular project, my involvement in it really kind of shaped my perspective and what I wanted to do with respect to the industry. So I've always had this dual track where on the corporate side, I was kind of involved with the media and entertainment industry from a corporate standpoint. But then also on the independent side, I kind of committed myself to helping to support and promote rising Black talent. And that's what kind of led me to Roderick Giles. We had met through a mutual friend way back in, I want to say it was 94, around that time. And at the time he was producing a feature film, and he had like production offices in Midtown. Now, if anybody knows about New York City, Midtown Manhattan rental rates are extremely high. And I was impressed by the fact that he believed in his talent enough that he actually opened a production office in Midtown Manhattan.
He's very ambitious.
Yeah, exactly. So I was drawn to that. I was drawn to his energy and his spirit, his resourcefulness, and more importantly, his talent. And the fact that a lot of people flocked around him because he was a natural teacher, right? And so we decided to come together and form a company called Clarendon Entertainment. And the whole purpose of the company was to, on the one hand, really promote the projects that he was involved with, help develop his career, but also on the other hand was to give other young rising talent an opportunity to work with us and really apply and develop their craft. And so we started that company. One of the first projects we did was we did a short film. We shot it in 35 millimeter back in 1999. It was called The Date, and it starred actor Wendell Pierce. And it was a funny.
I don't want to cut you off right there, but actually me and Rod grew up together, upstate New York. And we were in a summer camp group, and we actually had did a play, and the title of that play was The Date.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So we know where it originated from.
Yeah, but I don't know how much of it. All right, we got Rod coming in now. I don't know how much of it is actually a part of that film, but Rod definitely. We were young, aspiring actors, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And that was The Date. But go back to that. Now you said Rod is doing The Date,
right? So he was.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you. So
Okay.
why don't you share your video?
I got him. Hold on.
How's that?
Wait a minute. What you? Yeah, Rod, you should be in there now.
Okay.
Wait, did I do that? Hold on, man. Why can't I let?
Technical difficulties.
Right, I think you need to turn your camera on. That's you.
Yeah, share video. Press share video on your end, Rod.
Yeah, you got to turn your Rod.
Oh, I hit it again. I just did it. I'll hit it again. It says I'm unable to start. You can start your video because the host stopped it. So you gotta.
Oh, well, hold on a second.
All right. Wait a minute. I think I got it.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute.
I'm trying to start it.
Can you see us?
I can see you definitely. So
I think that's on my end. It says ask you to start video. That's what it's telling me to do right now.
Right. Okay. So I'm hitting start video, and it's telling me I can't start it because the host has stopped it. So it's on your end, Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Okay, start my video.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. Listen, Rod, thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching, that is my friend Roderick Giles that just joined. He's a film producer and partner with Rodney. Rodney was just filling us in on how we got started in the industry, and he was right at the part where you guys met and you were working on a film project entitled The Date.
So that's what we do. That was our first project that we worked together on.
Yeah, exactly. That was Clarendon Entertainment's maiden project, right? And it starred the actor Wendell Pierce, the great thespian actor and activist, I might add, Wendell Pierce. Wendell's been real active on social media here recently. I'm talking about BLM and a lot of other issues, right? Really important issues. He's on Twitter, and I'll get back to him in a minute. He's really been outstanding over the last 20 years. So.
Yeah. But hold that thought, man, because when you said The Date, I remember Rod telling me, because like I said, we grew apart. He moved away, and some other things happened with him. But he told me about the film The Date. So Rod, why don't you just quick introduction, who you are, what is it you do, and how you and Rodney met, and you can pick up right from The Date.
Well, I'm a filmmaker, a writer, producer, director. And because of my relationship with Rodney, sometimes an executive producer. Been in this this industry. You mentioned how long we've been business partners, Rodney, correct?
Yeah, since 94, right? 94, 95.
Yeah, man, it's just a wonderful, wonderful time. And, I started out OJT. And was fortunate to work with quite a bit of filmmakers after coming out of photography school, college. Yeah. So, I mean, with names like Spike and Antoine Fuqua and Gordon Parks and Bill Greaves, it's a lot of folks. And just been blessed to be around these incredible filmmakers to kind of learn. Yeah, the industry.
Yeah, man. But listen, man, it's been a wonderful journey, man. I'm glad to have grown up with you and watch you grow into the man that you are to do and doing what you're doing. And
Thank you.
And also introducing me to the talented gentleman Rodney Parnther that we started off with. Tell us a little bit about what he did and how he has maneuvered his way through the industry. Rodney had a quick question for you. We're going to get back to the story that you were talking about, but you were telling me about the first project you did. But what got you in the industry? What was it that moved you to say, "Hey, I don't want to be a basketball player. I don't want to be a football player. I want to be in the movie and entertainment industry? What was it that moved you in that direction?
Okay, Jeff, I'm about to embarrass you now, man, a little bit. This goes back to when we were like 15 years old.
What?
And we were working in a community program, right? You, I, and a couple other mutual friends, right? And we did a play.
Well, that was the date. That's what Rodney was. Rodney was at the point where he was talking about that play, blossomed into a film project that you later worked on, and that's where he was at when you just signed on. He was. Tell me how he got involved with you in that project.
Right, exactly. So, we were 15. We won't say how many years ago that was, but that was my first experience with directing.
Yeah,
right?
you actually wrote the script.
Yeah, and then we performed it, right, over a very new industry, cable.
Yeah, that was a memorable experience. My love for entertainment, movies and films and music and everything grew out of that.
Right, and I realized at that point that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a visual storyteller, a filmmaker.
Okay, all right. So, Rodney, I'm gonna get back to Rodney real quick, Rod. So you meet Rod, and you guys come together, and he's working on this film. But my question was to you originally is what got you in the industry, in the niche that you are in? Because some people say I want to be in movies, and they may want to be an actor, cameraman, producer, screenwriter. What actually led you to this specific part of the industry that you're in now?
Is that me or Roderick?
That's for you, Rodney. All right, Rodney.
Oh no,
Roderick. I'll get this.
So for me it was for me it was really easy. So I'm a child of the '80s, right? So if you're a child of the '80s, you grew up obviously going to the movies, but being especially impacted by Spike Lee and some of those films that came out in '86 and throughout the late '80s. And so as I was pursuing a career in finance, and I ended up becoming a CPA, it just so happened that the firm I was working for, they actually put me in the media and entertainment practice. So as a result, from the corporate side, I got a chance to see and experience the film, the television, the syndication business from a corporate standpoint. And so I began to develop a certain expertise in that side of the business. And so just by chance, I was introduced to this young filmmaker, Matty Rich, who was working on this film straight out of Brooklyn. And he and the producer, they were looking for an accountant. And so I was referred to him. I got a chance to meet him. We were both very young. I think I was only in my early 20s at that point. He was like a 19-year-old, one of a kind. And we hit it off. And I ended up working on that project as the production accountant, but I also did some producer activities as well. Okay. And that project, like I said, it ended up going into the Sundance Film Festival in '91, and then it got picked up by the Samuel Goldwyn Company, and it was released theatrically as part of a whole bunch of Black films in 1991. Which was like, it was like an explosion of Black films that had not been seen since the Blaxploitation movie.
You pretty much came in the industry at a very, very good time. It seemed like that, that was a good time to be in the industry. You're in the right place at the right time with the right ideas.
Yeah, it was very, very fortuitous. And so what came out of that was the investors in Straight Outta Brooklyn, they started a company. And they kind of roped me in. I was on the board and I helped develop that company. The company didn't go real far because we had no distribution. So it's one thing producing a film, but quite another to get it distributed. Yeah. And so after that experience, and I lost a little bit of money in that venture, but after that experience, I said, well, I need to get involved with starting a distribution company. And when I finally ended up meeting Roderick, I kind of pitched him on the idea of starting a company that would finance and distribute as well as produce. And that's when we kind of came together and we formed the Clarendon Entertainment.
I mean to cut you off, but film distribution, financing, film festivals, how do you choose a team to put a film together? Some of the questions I wanted to ask you about.
Sure.
and we'll get to a few of those things during the interview. But Rod, now you mentioned how we started out, you know, in grade school, elementary school, high school together, and we had the same ambitions. We actually were in the community college doing the in the TV studio, learning to be camera operators. Now, but you moved on. You went on to college, and the next thing I heard, you were working as a cameraman on Showtime at the Apollo at the Apollo Theater. Tell us about that a part of your career, and how did you get that break, and how was that experience for you?
Well, the experience working at the Apollo, I think I was there for about 10 years. It was absolutely incredible. In terms of meeting who's who, in terms of the music industry. It was very inspirational, and to this day, music inspires me. It just so happened that during that time, I was going to, the industry was going through a transition. There was actually the writer's strike in New York, and subsequently, there was no production. And so there was no work. And I had just finished working on a documentary about the rehabbing of the Apollo some months earlier.
Yeah, I remember.
And my desire to make sure that it was around the holiday season, my desire to make sure that I took care of my children, my son, for Christmas. I noticed that they had opened up the Apollo and they were starting to do production. And they were still finishing up some construction. So I went in one day, having met the foreman and the other guys working on from this documentary. And I said, hey guys, look, I'm looking for some work for the holiday. Want to get my kids some toys and that kind of thing, and my relatives and whatnot. I'd love to come in and work, and I'll do anything. And so this guy was really, really great guy. Right. Said, well, all right, come back about 7 o'clock. I was there. I came. When I arrived, they were loading in for a show. And instead of working with the crew that was doing the construction and whatnot, he was like, yo, man, go work with those guys up there on the stage. I was very familiar with working on the stage and equipment and all of that.
Okay.
And then that was it. I just kind of showed that I knew what was going on, and I continued on with the Apollo from many years. I actually was the house cameraman to document a lot of concerts. I was one of the stage managers for Showtime at the Apollo that I worked on for many years. From Rick.
I just wanted to make sure I got that out there. Yeah, I know that was one of the things that got you in the industry doing what you did. I'm sure you did a lot of things after that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But what I really want to get to at this point is Clarendon Entertainment. Am I saying that right? Is that the business, Clarendon?
Yeah, that's correct.
How do you, and this is for you, Rodney, how do you and Rod become partners or working together with that company? How does that come about?
So, so as I mentioned before, after my experience with Straight Outta Brooklyn, and then there was a subsequent project that was sponsored by the investors in that film, it didn't really go anywhere because of lack of distribution. I began to cast about looking for opportunities to start a distribution company. Now, you have to remember, this is the mid-1990s. This was before, or I should say right before, the advent of the internet. And before the impact the internet had on the film and television industries. This was before then. So we're basically living in an analog world where when you distribute films to theaters, you have to distribute film prints. It was that world, right? And so it was very, very expensive to start a distribution company. But I was too young and foolish to know all of that. Even though I had experience from the corporate side, that was really more from the numbers side, not from the operations. So me and my, crazy self went about trying to start a distribution company. And I met a gentleman named James Sanford. And I had a conversation with him, told him about what I was looking for. And he says, I know the perfect person you should talk to. He's a guy who's a real talented filmmaker, and he knows everybody. He's he's plugged in, he's well connected. He can get you started. And he put me on the phone with Roderick. And Roderick's like, hey man, what's going on? Tell me about what you're doing. And I'm like, look, I want to start a distribution company. He's like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm a producer, I'm a director. I need an outlet for my films. We should talk, you know? And like I said, I went to his office in Midtown, and he's like the only filmmaker I know that rented an office in Midtown Manhattan,
You got to do
paying
it big.
Midtown Manhattan rents. you want to talk about commitment, and so I was impressed, you know. And he's like, yeah, you know, we're shooting a feature film in Providence with casting, and we're doing all this. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
you know. So it took some time. It took like maybe a year and a half before we actually formalized like a partnership in this Clarendon company. But yeah, you know, that's how we met. So
Well, that's a great story. Oh, it's great.
yeah.
All right. So
we're off and running.
So Rod, he's telling us how you guys met. How you know, when you guys actually get together and start working together, what are some of the projects or some of the films that you guys produced together through Clarendon? You know, tell us a little bit about some of the work that you guys did, and you know, what did you guys do? What did you start off at?
Well, The Date was our first film together,
Okay.
the rollout film, and fortunately, we were able to get quite a bit of success and accolades from The Date, to the extent that eventually we were able to actually get it licensed by HBO.
Wow.
Right. This was our first film ever. I mean, I guess it's kind of unheard of. It's somewhat of a, I don't think it was a fluke at all. I think we put in the effort, we put in the planning. Like Roddy said, you know, through that year before our partnership, we talked about quite a bit about what our vision, our individual visions, and what we could come together with. And then after the success of The Date, we moved on to another film, Gully, and then we moved on to producing and distributing other films. So, I mean, to this date, we've actually executive produced, and or distributed over 30 films.
Yeah.
And worked with numerous filmmakers. It wasn't just me doing all of the directing and whatnot. So one of the main goals for us was to provide alternative narratives that were out there about us, and also spread the wealth to support other independent filmmakers in the whether aspiring or whether established.
Well, you guys came out, phenomenal success that you actually came out. Weren't a lot of black filmmakers, a lot of film producers, weren't a lot of black films being distributed, because distribution is a real big deal. Once you have that, because that was one of the questions I had for you guys. Like, you know, how do you go about distribution? Or if somebody's an aspiring filmmaker who's done a film, what do you actually do once it's done? I mean, so that was one of the questions. All right, so going forward, you guys get Clarendon started. You're making films. You're doing different projects. What are some of the successes that you've had? Because I know you guys are in film festivals. You said you had stuff on HBO. What are some of the successes or goals that you've achieved since you've been making films? And that's for you, Rodney, right now.
Okay. So in terms of the Clarendon Company, I would say Clarendon was groundbreaking in a number of ways. Really, the primary way is, like I said, giving opportunities for young filmmaking talent to produce and direct stories and then get them out to an audience. One of the things, I think one of our crowning achievements, so in addition to having some of our films go into paid television networks like HBO and Showtime, we were able to attract a home video or home entertainment distribution deal with a company called Ryco Distribution. And so with that deal, we were able to not only produce stuff for ourselves, but also acquire stuff that was out there that was not getting any shine and put them into stores through our deal. And I think Roderick, you can attest to this. One of the projects we did, well, a couple of projects that we acquired and distributed through our deal. One of which was an animated program aimed at kids that starred a young African American character called The Adventures of Teddy P. Brains. And and at the time I had kids that were like toddlers at the time. This thing was perfect for them. And the other one was a documentary on the assassination of Martin Luther King. And it and it featured jailhouse interviews with James Earl Ray. And these were the types of projects we were kind of putting through this distribution deal. Unfortunately, the deal, after about a couple of years, the deal kind of went away because the distributor, which was heavily involved in the music industry, they ended up selling to Warner Music. And then Warner Music, you know what happened to the music industry. There was a lot of decline because of the internet and because of downloads. A lot of the stores that were selling a lot of our DVDs and Blu-ray discs, they began going out of business. And it just became a much more difficult business to be in. So we ended up having to exit that business. And we had to really think about how we wanted to compete in this new world where there were lots of different choices. Audiences were much more demanding or demanded much more control over what they wanted to watch and when they wanted to watch it. And so there were all these new platforms coming up, none of which was really paying a lot of money. And so we had to learn how to navigate in that world. Wow. But yeah, we got off to a roaring start. We did a lot of things that I think, we accomplished a lot of things that I'm personally proud of. And so I think at this point we're at a crossroads. We're trying to figure out the best way forward.
Okay. Now you had mentioned when you guys got into the distribution, Rod, you actually gave me a DVD, Urban Slam Project. Tell me a little bit about the Urban Slam Project, because I was amazed with that. I love that DVD. I still got it. I watch it from time to time. The films are amazing. Tell us a little bit about the Urban Slam Project, man, and some of the other things that you've done.
Well, that Urban Slam was basically Rodney and I's idea of providing a culmination of talent and narratives. Okay. So we were able to, via a contest, we were able to locate some other filmmakers that had, and their films kind of shared what our criteria was one, unique stories, quality execution in terms of all the factors in terms of filmmaking, in terms of its look, its sound, its production, basically. And we wanted it to be somewhat eclectic in terms of its story. And then we also had a kind of a behind the scenes look at me as I went through the process of directing one of the films that's on the compilation.
Yeah. Once again, everybody who's watching, big shout out to Ruth Sumner, Terry Simeon, and Jamila Austin. There's three ladies that actually joined us. I want to give them the opportunity to ask some questions if anybody has one. Ruth, do you have a question or comment for Rod or Rodney?
Yes, I was just, it was kind of ironic that they were talking about when he got into film, because my sister, Rhonda, wrote 2 books that she just released. And we were discussing, because when I was 15, I wanted to be a writer. So when I saw your invitation, I said, let me get on and see what's going on so I might get back into it. So it was very interesting what they were saying. So I really appreciated the information, and I continue to hope that they have great success.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Jamila, do you have a comment or you want to say something to Rod and Rodney? Wait, let me make sure
we know Jamila.
Well, no, I'm an associate of both Roderick and Rodney, so it's really a pleasure to be a part of this experience. And I just want to say, we're all looking at how to take this to the next level, and I'm looking forward to continue my work with you guys.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Absolutely.
And Terry, you got a question or comment for Rod and Rodney? You're going to have to unmute your mic.
Hi. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I just wanted to come on and support. That's all.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the support.
Good luck with all you do.
All right. Thanks.
All right. So we're going to have to wrap this up, man. Again, it's my first show. I only did 30 minutes. I didn't want to, try to do a long show and start having technical difficulties and problems. But I want to appreciate you guys coming on, giving me an opportunity, man, to kind of build my platform and tell people a little bit about what you guys do. So Rodney, quick before we go, what can people look forward to in the future from you and Clarendon Entertainment?
Yeah, just more support for the Black filmmaking community. One of the initiatives we started was the assistance with crowdfunding campaigns. Crowdfunding came around maybe around 10 years ago as a great way of financing independent projects. but it was a brave new world for a lot of filmmakers. And what we offered was some services to help them navigate that. And then just continued investing in projects, developing talent, moving Roderick's career forward, a lot more of that, and really building a significant presence in the industry going forward.
Okay, Rod, same question for you, man. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. Things kind of slow now with the coronavirus and the way things are in everybody's industry. But what can we look forward to from you and Giles Films?
Well, I've been working on a script that's that addresses some of the stuff that we're going through now in society. I'm about to teach an online class out of Bronx Community College. If folks are interested in that, they should look at the Online Learning Academy at BCC. The class is called Directing Vision and Process. I'm also now doing some research on a micro doc that I want to do about how to talk to children about what's going on now with racism, and how to prepare young people, right, to deal with what's going on around them, from the protests to police violence and all of that.
Very ambitious project. There's a lot going on out here today with police brutality and racism and discrimination in the country, man. And even people like us who lived through the civil rights movement and things that have happened in the past are still struggling on how to deal with these things even today in the society that we're in. All right.
So if anybody wants to reach me, my IG is Giles Film 555. Same thing, you can reach us on Clarendon Entertainment on Facebook, or you can also reach me at Giles Film 555 at Gmail.
Okay. And Rodney, same question for you. If anybody who's watching who want to contact you or follow you and support your what you're doing, how can they contact you?
Yeah, same venue, same platforms. Clarendon Entertainment on Facebook is probably the best way. As far as email, just Rodney817 at Gmail. That's my name, Rodney817 at Gmail. But probably the most efficient way is to just DM me on our Facebook page, Clarendon Entertainment.
All right. All right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's DJ Gatsby. You're watching the DJ Gatsby Show. My guest today is Rodney Parnther and Roderick Giles of Clarendon Entertainment, aspiring and very successful filmmakers, film producers. They gave us a lot of information about the film industry and what they've done in the past and a little bit of what they're looking for in the future. Ruth, Terry, and Jamila, thank you guys for joining us today. Rodney, man, I hope we speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You know, I met you a few years ago. You're very interesting, man. I'm an aspiring public access TV producer, and I got a lot of plans to do things as well outside of TV. And film is something I would love to get involved with. Rod, as you know, I spoke to you about doing the documentary on who's who in African American literature, featuring African American authors and writers, because a lot of us read, a lot of us know that are Black writers, but we have no idea who they are. And there's a lot of them out there, and they deserve to be heard. Right. So once again, thanks for watching me on Zoom. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at djgatsbyx@yahoo.com. If you want to contact me, djgatsbyx@yahoo.com. Visit my website, www.who'swhoinafricanamericanlit, to find out more about me, what I do, and what I'll be doing next. Rodney, Rod, Ruth, Terry, and Jamila, thank you guys so much. God bless you.
Thanks for having us.
On the free. And hey, you guys got to come back on the show more time. I didn't even get a chance to go through the talking points that I had here, man. But we still covered a lot of the issues or a lot of the information that aspiring filmmakers or people who want to know about the film industry would like to know about. Yeah,
we'd love to come back.
Absolutely.
All right, so you can catch this Zoomcast on my YouTube channel. It's www.youtube.com/DJ Gatsby. Also on my Facebook page, Jeff Gatsby Wilson. Thanks, guys. God bless, and have a wonderful weekend.
All right, thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, cuz.
Bye. And everybody, once again, I want to thank Rodney and Rod Jobs for coming on the show, and everybody who actually chimed in and came to check out my very first Zoom broadcast. I'm going to be doing this Zoom show every Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be having guests from music, sports, entertainment, films, and what have you. We're also going to have topics where we talk about politics, police brutality, the Black Lives Matter, and of course, the Corona pandemic. So, thanks for supporting DJ Gatsby and my show. Make sure you register to vote in the upcoming presidential election. Your vote counts. Your vote will help your candidate win. And when we win, it's worth your vote. Thanks. Good night. God bless. And everybody have a wonderful week.